Once upon a time, there lived an elderly Zen master in a small hut by the sea. Every morning, he meditated at sunrise, listening to the sound of crashing waves and observing the endless movements of the ocean. He didn't have many disciples, but people from nearby villages often came to him for advice. Still, he rarely spoke about himself. One day, a young traveler came, sat beside him at dawn, and asked, "Master, you've said that the sea teaches us peace, but who was the first person to teach you that lesson?" The master smiled, his eyes gazing toward the past. He began his story. "I used to be hot-tempered and overly confident in my own views. One day, in order to cultivate patience, I decided to go out to sea alone, living on a small boat amidst the vast ocean. At sea, he met his first teacher, an old fisherman who lived alone on a small boat, surviving by casting his net each day. He didn't talk much, but every morning, whether it was sunny or stormy, he smiled and cast his net. Some days he caught nothing, yet remained calm. Other days he caught plenty but showed no pride. I asked him, "Aren't you frustrated when your net comes up empty?" He simply smiled and said, "The fish don't come to please or upset me. I cast the net because it is my path. Nothing is truly lost, only delayed." From the old fisherman, the master learned patience and the attitude of accepting life as it is, without resistance or expectation. One night, a great storm struck. His boat drifted to a deserted island. There, he met his second teacher, a mute girl living alone in harmony with nature, communicating only with gestures and her gaze. At first, I was frustrated that I couldn't talk with her, but then she pointed to the sky and placed her hand over my heart. Slowly, I began to understand. She didn't need words. Every gesture, every smile carried more meaning than speech ever could. From the silent girl, he learned that silence can be wisdom, and not everything sacred must be spoken. Months later, he left the island and sailed once again. One foggy night, his boat struck a piece of driftwood and began leaking. He panicked, scooping water frantically, to no avail. Just then, his third teacher appeared, a dolphin. It swam around my boat and didn't leave. Though I didn't understand why, there was something in its eyes, as if it was guiding me. When I finally gave up struggling and lay still, the dolphin began gently pushing the boat toward shore. The next morning, I awoke near land. From the dolphin, the master realized that sometimes salvation comes in stillness, not from struggle, that letting go of fear and control is the key to survival. The elderly monk looked at the young traveler and concluded, "I used to think only people could teach me wisdom, but it was the sea itself, an old man, a voiceless girl, and a wild creature who taught me the most profound truths." Open your heart, for the greatest lessons do not always come from spoken words, but from life unfolding quietly around you. In our pursuit of knowledge, many of us believe we can only learn from the wise, from teachers, books, or successful people. But the truth is, life itself is the greatest and most profound teacher, one that never uses chalkboards or lesson plans, but imprints unforgettable wisdom into our hearts through experience. Your truest teacher may come in the form of an old fisherman, teaching you to be patient and to accept what you cannot control. It may come as a mute girl, showing you that silence can speak louder than words, and that true connection comes from presence, not speech. Or it may arrive as a quiet dolphin, appearing when you are most afraid, not to lecture you, but to simply be there, reminding you that when you stop resisting, peace and help will find their way. Life doesn't care who's right or wrong, who's smart or not. It simply reflects back to us who we are, moment by moment. A storm may teach you resilience. A failure may teach you humility. A stranger's glance may awaken a compassion you forgot you had. But these lessons only come to those who are open. We often live with inflated egos, trying to prove we're right, trying to know it all, control it all. But that ego is what blinds us to the simplest, deepest lessons. You cannot truly learn when you believe you already know. You can only learn when you are humble, attentive, and willing to admit you are still growing. The people who grow the most are not those who avoid mistakes, but those who learn from every mistake and transform each stumble into inner strength. They don't seek teachers in grand lectures, but in the smallest moments, in the sound of the waves, the fallen rain, or the eyes of a child. So live with the mindset of a lifelong learner. Don't close your heart just because you've been hurt. Don't overlook the ordinary, for within it lie hidden gems of truth. Don't underestimate anyone, for the greatest teacher might be the one you least expect. Because in the end, maturity isn't about knowing more. It's about living more deeply, loving more wisely, and seeing the world with ever-widening eyes. And only then. You don't just learn to know, you learn to live. You learn to understand. You learn to become a better human being every single day.